Breaking news, U.S. President Donald Trump has unfortunately slapped tariffs on Colombia for denying U.S. deportation flights into the country, according to spokesman. Why? Let's take a look. This video, like I said, or this article, like I said, is by Spokesman. Review out of Spokane, Washington. They were established in May 19th of 1883. The article is titled, Trump Hits Colombia with Tariffs in Feud Over Military Deportation Flights. And the article reads, Bogota, Colombia. Colombia refused to accept military deportation flights from the United States, setting off a furious reaction from President Donald Trump, who Sunday announced a barrage of tariffs and sanctions targeting the country, which has long been a top U.S. ally in Latin America. The United States will immediately impose a 25% tariff on all Colombia imports and will raise them to 50% in 1 week, Trump said on social media. The Trump administration will also, quote, fully impose, close quote, banking and financial sanctions against Colombia and will apply a travel ban on and revoke visas for Colombian government officials, the president said. The move reflects how Trump is making an example out of Colombia as countries around the world are grappling with how to prepare for the mass deportations of immigrants that he has threatened. Quote, this looks like a pretty bold and daring escalation on both sides, close quote, said Will Freeman, who is a fellow for the Latin American Studies at the Council of Foreign Relations, citing Colombia's economic reliance on the United States, which is still the Southern American country's largest trading partner, even as China has been making inroads, quote, but equally for Trump to threaten Colombia this way is pretty bold itself, close quote. Freeman added, quote, because Colombia remains historically the longest standing, the deepest, the strategic ally in the region, close quote. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro said earlier Sunday in a series of social media posts that Colombia would not accept military deportation flights from the United States until the Trump administration provided a process to treat Colombian migrants with, quote, dignity and respect. Petro also said that Colombia had already turned away military planes carrying Colombia deportees, while other countries in Latin America have raised concerns about Trump's sweeping deportation plans. Colombia appears to be among the first to explicitly refuse to cooperate. Quote, "I cannot make migrants stay in a country that does not want them," Petro wrote. Close quote, or begin quote. But if that country seeks them back or sends them back, it should be with dignity and respect for them and for our country, close quote. He said he was still open to receiving deportees on non-military flights. Pedro's stance put him on a collision course with Trump, who, since taking office last Monday, has issued a series of executive orders, made other moves aimed at laying the groundwork to try to deport an enormous number of migrants. The tariffs alone could deal a significant blow to Colombia's economy. The United States is Colombia's largest trading partner, with top Colombian exports including crude oil, coffee, and cut flowers. Petro also cut attention on Americans living in Colombia. In a social media post, Petro said that more than 1,500 Americans were living in the country without authorization and called upon them to regularize, close quote, their immigration status. The U.S. Embassy in Bogota did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Petro did not include details about when or how many military planes and migrants have been turned away. There were 190,000 Colombian immigrants living in the United States without legal permission in 2022, according to the most recent data available from the Pew Research Center. A representative for Petro confirmed that the planes had been turned away, but did not immediately respond to other questions. Representatives for Colombia's foreign ministry did not immediately respond to requests for comment. The United States typically sends back deportees in planes resembling commercial jets that are operated by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. After Trump signed an executive order to allow the military to assist in securing the border, the acting Secretary of Defense, Robert Salesses, said in a statement last week that the military would provide airplanes to support deportation flights. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, what Trump did for the American military soldiers is blatantly unconstitutional. That is not what their job duties are to do. They are supposed to be out fighting wars and protecting our country, not babysitting a border. A border in which it is the Border Patrol's job to do, not military. Trump is messing up America. But that's Trump. He doesn't like anything that is negative towards him. Continuing with the article. The Trump administration is sending the military planes in addition to the usual flights operated by ICE, meaning that they do not replace the typical flights that land several times a week in countries throughout the region, and which Petro referred to as, quote, civilian flights, close quote. The new planes sent by the military can only depart from the United States if the receiving nation has approved them. Services said that before the military sent flights, the State Department would first, quote, obtain the requisite diplomatic clearances and provide host nation notification, close quote. It is unclear which countries may have agreed to receive military planes carrying deportees, or if Colombia had agreed and then revoked its agreement. Brazil's foreign ministry complained of, quote, degrading treatment, close quote, of its citizens after 88 migrants arrived handcuffed Friday on a flight from the U.S. Early Friday, Guatemala received 2 U.S. Air Force jets carrying around 160 deportees in total, making it one of the first countries to publicly receive such flights. The Guatemala government sent the country's vice president to oversee the arrival of the deportees on the C-17 aircraft, and the Trump administration hailed that effort in messages on social media. Officials in Mexico, the source of the largest number of immigrants living in the United States illegally, have said they remained open to receiving deported citizens, and routine deportations have taken place to Mexico cities along the U.S. border in recent days. Quote, when it comes to repatriations, we will always welcome Mexican men and women back to our territory with open arms, close quote. Mexico's Foreign Affairs Ministry said in a statement on social media Friday night. Still, Mexican authorities have not described whether they plan to accept military flights or whether they will receive deported migrants from other countries, as Mexico has sometimes done in the past. On Friday, news outlets reported that Mexico had turned away a military plane carrying deportees, an account that could not be independently confirmed. By the way, guys, if you want to go back and check that out in case you're just now seeing this video, they originally did deny 2 Guatemala-bound C-17 flights from returning wrongfully immigrants from the United States. I will have that linked down below. The foreign minister, Enrique Reina, said in an interview Saturday that it was, quote, open to receiving our compatriots as long as the conditions are appropriate and have been properly coordinated, close quote. Parentheses, story can end here. Optional material follows. He said that the government had been in conversation with the U.S. Embassy in Honduras about deportation flights, but it had not formally been asked to authorize the arrival of military planes carrying deportees. About 4 million immigrants from Mexico live in the United States without legal permission, representing about 37% of the estimated 11 million immigrants lacking permission, legal status, or permanent legal status. Sorry about that. The United States, according to Pew Research Center, or in the United States, according to Pew Research Center. But while Mexico is still the most common country of birth for immigrants living in the United States illegally, that number is down from a peak of 6.9 million in 2007. The population of immigrants from other countries living in the United States without legal permission has grown in recent years, especially from the Caribbean, South America, and Asia. This article originally appeared in the New York Times. Well, everyone, that is going to conclude it for today's video. If you did enjoy today's video, please do feel free to consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Before I forget, if you have not yet followed me on any of my other social medias that I will have linked down below, you can find those links down below with other links in the video description. If you did enjoy this video, please consider giving it a like, commenting, and subscribing, please, as well as sharing the video. It will help me out in the near future. Thank you, everyone, and I will talk to you guys in the next